Hello, Dr. Dave here with you again. I saw an ad on Microsoft Edge about some show on TV that a couple of guys did where they're trying to tell you that Robert Rackstraw was D.B. Cooper. So I prepared a video for you to tell you the truth about that whole thing, so you'll know about the Rackstraw guy. These fake news stories, they always do the same thing. They give you the whole rundown on D.B. Cooper. It's their way of telling you an old story over again so that people who don't know it can, pick up on it and have some fun with it. But, they leave out the important parts, the parts that would lead you to the truth. They don't want you to know that. This guy, Tom Colbert, you got to respect the guy. He spent 35 years of management and editorial experience in the national news, TV entertainment, publishing, and motion picture fields. I mean, this guy's highly respected among these media people, and he has the connections to get over a story about anything. But, Tom, I'm going to open a open line of communication to you. Call me up at my clinic. You can look me up in Far, Texas, under Gold Chiropractic Clinic, and do a story on the truth, would you? Don't just try to make something look good just so you can make a story. I mean, I got to respect the guy. He got a lot of education, spent his life in this news and media journalism, that kind of thing. And I think he was, executive producer or something of whatever. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff here. This guy's really, I mean, this is the kind of guy I'd like to stumble across who would come to me and say, "Hey, Dave, we want to tell your story." Then I could get it out there where people would know the truth. But anyway, he's making millions off of this ad where he puts this guy Rackstraw over as being D.B. Cooper. Frank's laughing in his grave right now. Frank Morris, who, for those of you who don't know, Frank Morris was D.B. Cooper. He told me about, I met him in Mexico City the year before he did the D.B. Cooper jump, and he told me he was going to do it. Showed me a comic book with a picture of Dan Cooper on the front and said that's the name that he was going to use. But he didn't give me enough details for me to understand where he was going. I was a 17-year-old kid. He was a 45-year-old man. One of the things that I want to tell you is how they in his article, they bring up all these things about Rackstraw, like he was a trained paratrooper. So that means that he could have been D.B. Cooper because he had the education in jumping to do it. Well, there's about 100 million guys in America that are trained in jumping out of airplanes with parachutes. So, it could have been any one of them too. To me, it's just incredible that they pick from there. The only thing they pick is that he was out of the military at the time. He got arrested for something, and all those things make him suddenly a prime suspect. That's because you don't have a prime suspect, okay? That's the FBI. They know who it was. They know Frank did that. They told me that when they were here in my office. They figured that him and the Zodiac Killer, Frank, had done both of those things and was hiding out in Mexico. And I told him, well, that makes sense because that's where I met him, in Mexico City. Then they go to this forensic thing of the pictures of these two guys, the police drawing of D.B. Cooper and a picture they found of and these guys even get a show on television, two-part show, to tell all these lies to you about this guy. And they say that this code breaker broke the code that's on the D.B. Cooper letters. You know, I've read all of the letters that are available and all the ones that Frank showed me, and there's no code on there except the codes that he showed me that I've showed you in my videos on the comparing the D.B. Cooper letters to the Zodiac Killer letters. And they're not in codes, they're just the way he wrote the normal letters that he wrote on there. I would really like to see that, and I know they put that in there to make me watch that television show, but I'm not going to do it because I'm not going to give them the peace of mind of knowing that they turned me into clickbait for something that I know is not true. But, you know, Frank Morris sat in front of me and showed me those letters and told me what everything means, and I told you. So you know the truth. And those of you who don't want to accept it, well, you know, you have that choice in America, thank God, but it's going away fast, okay? Now, I hate having to quote Donald Trump, but this is a whole bunch of fake news. Okay, and by the way, I am, you know, so angry about these people lying about all of this and making millions of dollars, and I'm telling the truth out of it, and I'm deep in debt doing it. I'm going to keep telling you the truth, and, you know, the ones of you that get it, you know, that's great. You get it, you understand it, and you pass it along, and sooner or later enough people will get it that the fake news won't matter anymore, I hope. You never know. I would like to say this. I am raising my $10,000 challenge to $20,000. If there's anyone out there who can prove that I didn't meet D.B. Cooper, Frank Lee Morris, and the Zodiac Killer, and the Phantom Killer from Texarkana in Mexico City when I was 16 or 17 years old, around 1969 or 70, and I didn't go through all the things with him that I've told you about, I will give you $20,000, okay? So you trolls out there can crawl out of the woodwork and take a look at this video and think about how bad you hate me because I might be slowing down the clicks you're getting on your stupid channel or you're telling a bunch of lies. And I can tell you there is one guy out there who has a Zodiac Killer site which is full of really good information. It's the biggest and the best one out there. I'm not going to name it, but the guy's really, I mean, he's the only one that's been able to get into the police departments and actually see the Zodiac Killer letters. I mean, that's so unfair because I actually held one of them, the Merry Pilker Christmas card, in my hand, and the FBI knows that my fingerprints are on it and my DNA, but they won't say anything about it. Okay, they don't want to admit that Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers escaped from Alcatraz and went around being lovers with each other and murdering people to have their fun. But anyway, and then the FBI is turning their back to the whole thing and just letting these guys murder people. All of these stories are in my book, My Dance with the Zodiac Killer. If you'd like to get a copy, it's going to cost you $20. People are telling me, well, I'm not going to spend $20 and you don't have any proof. Just look at what's on the front of this thing. If that don't prove it to you, it's because you don't want to pay attention. Okay? I'm sorry, I'm just really in one of those moods today. But the stories in here about how I met Frank in Mexico City and a whole lot of the other stuff. This is volume 1. I got 4 or 5 more volumes to write to tell you everything I know about these guys. So help me out. Buy the book, read it, and get ready for the next book. And the trolls, if you can prove me wrong, I will give you $20,000. $20,000, okay? So don't come here calling me a liar. Prove it. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
there is more truth to come in this case in the future. As soon as I can see what other lies they're going to tell you, I'm going to be here to tell you the truth. Thank you and goodbye.